Let's start with our star ingredient, shrimp. I'm using frozen, deveined, easy to peel shrimp. I always purchase them when they're BOGO, buy one, get one at Publix. It's just so much easier to have them in freezer, and the price you cannot beat. As you can see, they are deveined. Let them soak in room temperature water for 5 to 10 minutes. Look how easy it's to remove their peel. I usually save the peels and keep it in the freezer until I'm ready to use them in a stock. One of the shrimps still has a little bit of the vein left on the curved side. That's the intestinal tract. So cut that out and we'll rinse shrimp before using. Let me show you the bloodline vein under the shrimp. This does not have to be removed, but I am very picky, so I do remove it. This is the same way you would devein the vein on top if your shrimps weren't deveined to begin with. Let's look at the veggies we need to make our shrimp roll. We need garlic, cabbage, carrots, and we also need onion. I'm using a mandolin to julienne and slice my veggies today. You can use a knife or even a food processor. We will start with finely grating the cloves of garlic using this fine cheese grater. Next, slice the cabbage on the mandolin. On my mandolin, I have to flip the blade so I can julienne the carrots. I'm not measuring any of the ingredients. I like more of the cabbage compared to the carrots and onions in my egg rolls, so that's what I'm doing. Next, we will slice some onions. So I have to flip the blade and slice it. I am keeping the cabbage, carrots, and onions separately. You will see why in a minute. If onion slices are too long, then roughly chop them. Let's look what we have now. Julienned carrots, sliced onion, and the biggest portion is our sliced cabbage. Next is the grated garlic and soy sauce for seasoning and black pepper. We will need a little bit oil in this recipe as well, and lots of oil if you're frying. Back to our shrimp. Like I showed you, I have peeled and deveined our shrimp and removed all of the tail. I like to roughly chop them. I like little chunks of shrimp in my egg rolls when I bite into it, but you can definitely chop them finer. I'm going to use cornstarch for binding today, so add a little cold water and make a slurry. Not too thick, mine is pretty thin. Keep it ready. Time to start cooking. Fire up our stove. We will start with little oil. You don't want to use too much oil, only enough to saute our grated garlic in it for about 1 minute or so. I'm going to remove the garlic and I'm going to let the pan heat up and add our sliced onions. Spread the onions in a single layer. Don't overcrowd the pan. We want to saute the onions for 1 minute on high heat. Remove them from the pan. Next, add sliced cabbage. Don't add all of it if you don't have enough room. We want to cook it fast on high heat. Add little black pepper, cook, remove it within a minute, and then you can cook the second batch of the cabbage if your pan didn't fit all of it in the first time, like mine. Finally, time to saute our carrots on high heat. Add a little more black pepper and remove that to a plate as well. Next, we will work on our eggs. Whisk the eggs with salt and cook them. You can choose to scramble them at this point. I find it easier to do it this way. Make an omelet and then I will slice it thin. By the way, I am not adding the eggs today in my recipe because I'm making this for a friend who doesn't like eggs. Lastly, we will cook our shrimp. Break them up so they can cook evenly. Add little oil and black pepper. Don't overcook them. Take them off heat and move it to a bowl as soon as the color changes. Now, for the final steps. We will add garlic back to the pan, followed by our sauteed onions, cabbage, carrots, and shrimp. This would be also the time when you would add your cooked eggs to it. Mix it all well, move the mixture to one side, And then add the soy sauce like I'm doing. Make sure the pan is hot. The soy sauce needs to bubble, and then we are going to mix that into the mixture. My pan is very hot, so I'm going to turn it off and then add the cornstarch slurry. Mix it well, and then remove it from the pan and let this mixture cool. Time to clean up the pan with a wet paper towel and then a dry one. Are you wondering why I'm cleaning the pan? Because I am not deep frying these shrimp rolls today. I'm going to pan fry them. I'm using this particular kind of egg roll wrappers. You may have to try a couple different brands of egg roll wrappers if you don't find this particular one, just to see which one you like. You can also choose to make a double roti out of the maida and then use that as your wrapper as well. So we do that sometimes, but definitely that's a lot more time consuming. I'm going to make a slurry using all-purpose flour and water. I like to use this slurry instead of using water to stick the edges together. Wonton wrappers will dry out super fast if you leave them outside. While you're using them, I suggest you cover them with a dry towel. This way they don't dry out. And definitely when you're done, keep it in a Ziploc bag. Take all the air out, push it out, close the bag properly, and put it in the refrigerator. I'm going to apply this slurry on 3 of the 4 sides. Place the mixture evenly near the side that doesn't have the all-purpose flour slurry. I'm going to press down and push the mixture in together while folding the wrapper over the mixture. I'm going to turn this around so you can see it clearly. Evenly stick the edges on top of each other. Apply a little more slurry on the edges. And then fold them in. And then we are going to roll it tightly. That's it. Easy peasy. Go ahead and use the slurry if you need to stick the edges together. Once you're done making all of them, you will have to make a decision. Do you want to deep fry it or not? I'm going to pan fry it. So I'm going to heat up the same pan we used to make the mixture and add a little oil. Make sure it's very hot when you add egg roll to it. And then we're just going to turn it around as needed so that all the sides of the wonton wrapper is cooked. All the ingredients inside is already cooked. It's just going to heat up as you heat up the wrapper. And this way it does turn out very crispy, you guys. And I know exactly how much oil I have used in each of it. So I feel a little better about it versus deep frying it. So plus, you don't end up wasting a lot of oil because, for deep frying, you need a decent amount of oil in it to actually fry it. I've been lately just doing it this way. If I'm making a bunch of these, then I use my bigger, wider pan and I can easily make 6, 7 at a time. And it doesn't take more than like 2 minutes to make it this way. But they are super crispy. My kids and my husband enjoy it this way. So that is what I've been doing. Instead of deep frying, I do the pan fry. Sometimes I do the air frying, but that takes a little longer and this is just so much faster. So it's up to you. You can always make it like this in a pan and then heat it up in the air fryer if you like when you are serving to your guest. It looks so good. And it tastes delicious. My husband loves this recipe. Oh, by the way, when you're cutting it, you want to cut it in a slant like I'm doing. Even a further slant if you want, actually, you can do. I serve it with the hot and sweet chili sauce, the Indian one, sometimes the Thai one, but any sauce of your liking will work for this recipe. It is delicious. I hope you will definitely make it and let me know how you like it. Until next time, take care.